Most people know that Scouts go hiking, sleep in tents, can cook and take part in various activities. But in over 100 countries around the globe, millions of Scouts also share common objectives and ideals, promoting better world understanding and peace, doing things for others, trying to realize their full potential as contributing members of society. Although the basic principles of Scouting are timeless and universal, the conditions in communities where Scouts live are not. The way Scouting works towards its goals in other lands may not always look like Scouting as we remember it or see it around us.
7x2 SMA. 7x2 SMA.
But this too is Scouting.
Ici HB9S, Bureau mondial du scoutisme à Genève qui vous appelle. Ici HB9S, Bureau mondial du scoutisme à Genève qui vous appelle. À vous le micro.
نداء إلى سويسرا، نداء إلى جنيف، نداء إلى جنيف محطة الكشافة 7x2 س م أ.
From the World Scouts Bureau in Geneva to the Scouts of Algeria, here an Arab nation faces the exciting challenge of rebuilding and expanding. From a population of around 14 million, there are 60,000 Scouts. The Scouting movement began here in 1939 and is now a single organization. Community service and development is considered of great importance, not as a form of cheap labor, but as a means of bringing together young and old, the town and the country, breaking down harmful barriers through better understanding. Under an Agricultural Reform Act, the land of Algeria is being divided up for ownership by the workers. On this 16-hectare holding, crops must be grown on what is mainly sand. These Scouts are helping the new and inexperienced farmers harvest and save a crop, which would otherwise be spoiled. The Mediterranean, on the Algerian northern boundary, is beautiful, but can be dangerous. Lifeguard stations have been set up on popular beaches, but continuous vigilance is necessary to spot the swimmer who may be in difficulty. Scouts now help as observers and learn the life-saving drills. Learning a new skill gives confidence, is of value to the community, and may save a life. But all this is under the supervision of the professional lifeguards, who train the Scouts to be useful auxiliaries. Not only will this make them self-reliant, but it reminds them of the dangers of the sea. Scouting in Algeria means involvement with essential needs and encourages responsibility. Since independence, Algerians are helping in the growth of their country not only with their attitudes, but also by using their hands. Algeria needs houses. The annual growth rate is about 3%, and even if this stabilizes, the present young people, like these Scouts, will need homes in the future. Through such community service, they are learning the basic skills to meet that need, skills that will also help assure their future employment. Scouting is fun, too, and with the help of Scout musicians, they can relax in their own way at a campsite in the forest of Sidi Farouche. South of the Sahara Desert, unmistakably Africa, the country Dahomey, population around 3 million. Scouting has been carried out here since 1932, and in recent years has been concerned with many kinds of community development, campaigns against malaria, establishing groups of service scouts where none exist, developing model farms where young people can learn basic agricultural skills. The African village is still home to many people, and growing crops their main livelihood. But crops must be sold, and this is another area where the Scouts have helped. They built this market. It has a permanent asbestos roof to protect it from the sun and rain, a raised floor to protect against flooding. Previously, much of the food was ruined due to the long walk to the towns and poor weather conditions. Now more is sold and wastage reduced. This prototype has now been copied in other parts of Africa and stands out as an obvious improvement over that which was used before. Scouts of Dahomey are still building. In this case, with the help of brother Scouts from Germany, their leaders discuss in French progress for a living and learning complex for secondary school children in Porto Novo, which is the center of education. Students come here from all parts of the country, some traveling hundreds of miles. But accommodation in Porto Novo is insufficient, inadequate and overcrowded, making studying difficult. The new building will help. A musical interlude at a vocational training center in the country south of Cotonou. In the past, school leavers have been trained for jobs in the town, but there are often too few jobs to go around, and the young returned home disillusioned and unemployed. Now the concentration is more on rural crafts and skills, but the courses are flexible to prepare the young for job opportunities wherever they exist. Practical training is badly needed in Dahomey, and the Scout leaders have been responsible for setting up many courses, not restricted to Scouts, but for any young people who will benefit. Of course, learning a trade is not much good if you have no tools and no place to work when you are trained. So when these Scouts are competent carpenters, they can join a Scout cooperative workshop, which has been set up with outside aid to pool resources and market the products, either to the local town or even for export. Different, yes, but this too is Scouting. From the African continent and the map of Dahomey to the other side of the world, Indonesia, and with 150 million people to feed, it is no wonder that Scouting has a keen interest in agriculture. Rice has been grown in paddy fields for so long that for some people it has become part of their religion. Will the rice god become angry if methods are changed? Might he make the crop perish? Scouts are now working with the Agricultural Extension Service to introduce new methods and new varieties and demonstrate that not only will these grow, but produce bigger and better yields. The Scouts benefit too by learning about new farming methods, and for those who have left school early, a chance to be in the forefront of the expanding agricultural production program. Food production is vital to Indonesian standards of living, and having new ideas implemented with enthusiasm at grassroots level is an important link in the progression from ideas to practice. More rice means less hunger, more carbohydrates. But what about the protein? There's nothing new about fish as a source of protein, but these young fish will be growing bigger alongside the rice in the paddy fields. They are spawned in the small reservoirs needed for irrigation, grown amongst the rice and matured until they are ready for the table, to be served with the rice. progress means change. In this valley in East Java, some farmland has been flooded to provide water for a hydroelectric scheme. Farmers have become fishermen. Scouts, too, have taken to the water, in one way or another. A training practice gives a sense of urgency to the Scout Rescue Group. And for those who can swim, Scouting in Indonesia is divided into over 280 districts. This is a special training center serving the district of Malang. The Scouts in this case have left school early and have been taught a trade which is of considerable importance in a country where 1 in 6 people are unemployed. Beekeeping. A queen bee is isolated to create a new colony. The Scouts learn the technique of honey production so as to provide a home industry and ensure pollination of crops. Making the hives is included in the course. The range of Scout activities is immense. Net making, rug making, weaving, any skill which can improve their dexterity and which will be useful to themselves or their community. There is only time to glimpse some of the ways Scouting is adapting to meet the conditions and needs of the individual countries and their communities. With 3,000 miles of islands, communications in Indonesia are difficult. Learning electronics and Morse code will help these Scouts get a job. This, too, is Scouting. Another language, another continent, another religion. But in Costa Rica, the Scouts are also trying to do something useful. This troop in the outskirts of the capital San Jose are here tackling 2 projects: the planting of trees to improve the environment and repair work to a local school which has suffered from vandalism. It is hoped that by doing this, they will assume more responsibility and may help to prevent a repetition of the damage. Likewise, the trees being planted in this area, where they live, should have a greater chance of surviving. This progressive Latin American country has had Scouts since 1915, but in recent years has started a rapid expansion program. The activities undertaken have also included maintaining the National Park of Santa Rosa, where apart from laying out paths and erecting fences, they renovate historical buildings. They have also helped with the fish breeding project by collecting samples in rivers throughout the country for analysis. The countryside in Costa Rica is undulating and the mountains volcanic. These mountains tend to separate communities. Scouting brings people together. When the rains come to the Atlantic tropical belt, streams become raging torrents. This bridge which the Scouts built and are now repairing, is the only link between a small local community and the banana plantations where the villagers work. Costa Rica is proud of the fact that they have more universities than soldiers. They have no standing army. Here at the University of San Jose, all students intending to be educators have to take a semester in the educational message of Scouting and the implementation of youth programs.
Sí, en la escuela nueva hay un programa especial de escultismo coeducativo con niños y niñas.
They realize that good Scouting requires good leaders, and good leaders require good training. In time, all schools will have staff who understand the aims of Scouting and who will be in a position to help and encourage it. Yes, this too is Scouting. On our brief trip around the world, we have glimpsed just a few aspects of Scouting in only 4 countries out of over 100 who have an active Scouting program. This movement of over 15 million members is coordinated from this World Scout Bureau here in Geneva. Communication, feedback, correspondence, fundraising, sponsorship, training, promotion, discussion, evaluation, a center for ideas.
I want to confirm the dates for the meeting of the World Training Committee.
คุณพี่ว่าที่จะพูดที่ Secretary General จะมาวันเสาร์หน้าเสร็จแล้วอยากจะทราบที่เขาพูดภาษาสเปนได้หรือเปล่า
Bonjour madame, pourrais-je parler à monsieur Sellier s'il vous plaît?
General and special bulletins are regularly dispatched to all countries to keep everyone in touch with current developments. And there's always the next seminar to arrange and evaluate.
This pair have a task force working together that has to report.
Being useful is the new hallmark of Scouting. And even with a handicap, you can still make life richer. Just listen to this music, played by blind scouts in Indonesia. This too is Scouting.